Well, folks, we have a long overdue premium tank destroyer that should have came out about 5 months ago before the actual debut of the entire tech tree, but better late than never for money or loot box. Ugh. The first tier 8 American vehicle with a 155mm. It's a big gun, but it's not that pretty. A 𝗛𝗶𝗱𝗱𝗀𝗲𝗀𝗀 of a TD. The first rocket medium tank in the game. You saw rockets on BZ tanks or TT-130M, but now it's on a medium tank chassis, has more boosts, but doesn't boost as long, so there are a few trade-offs. And finally, a more athletic, mobile version of an E75. There are a few trade-offs compared to the fatter cousins, but it's not as punching of a gun. Does move a little bit faster, so we'll take a look. But unfortunately, with this patch 1.25.1, there are no Czech autocannon light tanks for now, so we'll have to wait for the next patch, likely 1.26, for the Czech autocannon tech tree, as well as the premium tank at tier 8, and the 𝗛𝗶𝗱𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 so no HD screenshots for this vehicle. It's a Cromwell with a 20-pounder on the outside of a gun, external gun system thing. And the Toro, a premium tier 9 Italian heavy tank, a rear mounted version of the vehicle. And also the Felice and the Strasser V4 are missing in this patch. So these two vehicles were alongside the E77 and the XM57, but we'll have to wait. So let's take a look at the SDP-WZ-66, the Grom. We saw this vehicle last week on the Russian server. They call it the 𝗛𝗶𝗱𝗱𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 with a turbo mode, similar to the medium tanks, but this is the normal version with the damage drop-off star-shaped barrel. So the same visual model, but armor values are a little bit different. It has actually better armor than the Russian server, surprisingly, but we'll take a look. So not a bad looking vehicle. All the vehicles in the Polish tank destroyer line looks like Su-122-44 or 54s, but slope armor at the hull front. It is thick, it is aggressive. Stick the gun in your face and pull the trigger, but the damage will drop off to about 1300 DPM if you're trying to snipe at the back of the map, so they want you to be very aggressive with these vehicles. But premium tank, after about 5 months, like I said, so the same caliber of a gun compared to the SDP-58, the 𝗛𝗛𝗵𝗶𝗱𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀, but this vehicle has better DPM at the cost of accuracy. There are a few better discrepancies with this vehicle compared to the tech tree version, but we'll take a look. So crew of 4 fits all the Polish TDs, but let's take a look at the firepower. So DPM is about the same ballpark, but it has slightly better DPM than the actual tech tree vehicle. So compare this with the SDP Kalina, yada yada. But slightly better DPM, not much. Has not as good penetration for the APCR round, but not as good accuracy. Faster aim time, better dispersion while moving, slightly slower shell velocity. It's not that much, only 20 meters per second. You won't notice it, but carries 5 less ammo. And even though the shell deals the same damage, it costs 10 more credits. For some reason, I don't know. So let's see the gold shell. It should be the same or so. Less penetration by 12mm for the gold shell. And 70 less meter per second shell velocity. So not that much big of a difference, but it has worse accuracy for better aim time. So you don't need the accuracy as close range, right? You don't need the accuracy. Just stick your gun into opponent's face and pull the trigger. But dispersion while moving is a big deal, especially with the 5 degrees per side of gun traverse arc. You'll be moving the hull about a lot of the times. So it's all about the armor. Originally we were scared that this vehicle had only 120 at the hull front. It's not that. So luckily it's only for the vehicle actual hull plate, not for the superstructure. The superstructure is actually 210 compared to 190 on the Russian server. It's actually thicker on this vehicle. So effectively, it's still about the same as the SDP-58, the 𝗛𝗏𝗃, whatever. But you still have the little strip of commander cupola on top, as well as, if you're tall enough, shoot into the cupola on top of the roof for the loader and the commander. But yeah, the middle hull plate, yeah, this is only 190, so try to go hull down with the 7 degrees of gun depression, so sticking only your superstructure out and poking shots into opponents. But lower plate is only 80, effectively 130, so only about the superstructure are strong. At least it covers the sides as well, so even if you angle a little bit, that's still pretty strong. Only 50 for the hull sides. You have the tracks, but that's not much. 70 for the sides of the superstructure, but okay. 1400 health, pretty chunky of a health. So you are aggressive. You are being pushed to be aggressive with this vehicle. The same play style, but this plate is weaker than the tech tree version, of course. So tech tree version goes all the way down to the hull for the lower plate. So SDP-58, we can take a look at the armor. Yeah, this plate is stronger. It's 200mm compared to your 120. So effectively, the armor only starts to get weak right at the bottom plate. So the armor is slightly stronger on the superstructure, but not as strong on the actual hull upper plate. So few trade-offs, but you are still trying to be hauled down with both vehicles, right? Cover up the lower plate. It's still workable. It's still fine. It's a premium tank status, so there are a few trade-offs, right? There are a few trade-offs. Yeah, okay. But not a bad-looking vehicle, of course. And mobility-wise, about the same mobility as the SDP-58. It has better terrain resistance. Yeah, better terrain resistance. So effectively, better hull traverse and top speed for muddy grounds. Yeah, better terrain resistance and better on paper hull traverse with more horsepower per ton ratio and the same top speed. Same gun depression, elevation, traversing to the sides. It has more view range by 20, which is surprising, but not as good camo. Weighs more too. The same health, the same module health and other stuff, but why does this get 20 more meters of view range? That's not fair. I mean, give it like 10 more, you'll be fine, but 20? That's kind of crazy. So, premium tank bias. It's not a bad looking vehicle, but like I said, 5 months later, and you're going to put it into a loot box or something, I don't know. Or just straight up sell it. But yeah, straight up sell it. Don't put it in a loot box, right? Sell it for like 50 bucks and people will still complain because it's so freaking expensive. Alright, moving on. XM57. We actually get the textural model with this vehicle now. Originally, it was just a mesh, just a collision model without the actual details and other stuff. But Quasimodo of a patent-esque of a chassis. It's a hunchback, but looks like an Excalibur that got smushed into a pancake of sorts. Oh, yeah, I'm calling it the Igor patent or Quasimodo patent. Definitely. Oh, it's a big caliber gun and should deal tons of damage, but how good is the hunchback in the back, right? Is that like a vent port? That's a vent port. Or a toolbox. That looks more like a toolbox. That should be a toolbox. It's not a vent port. Not like the SU 122V. That has a vent port space armor on the sides. My voice cracked. Alright, crew of 4. Not bad. I mean, it's not as much as the E3 or E4, missing one loader, but it's a premium tank, 155mm. Firepower wise, DPM is not the greatest, but then again, it's assault tank destroyer with a large caliber gun, so 270mm pen for a tier 8 that's a premium is very rare to find. Usually it's like 250 for tank destroyers, but don't have to rely on that many gold shell. 75 degrees per side or traverse arc. And accuracy, aim time are not great, but then again, it's a big caliber gun, so as expected. Let's see. Oh god. Dispersion while traversing and moving is horrendous, but not bad for moving the gun about, so don't move the hull when you're moving the gun. Unless you're forced to when you're being circle strafed, but then again, if you're at close range, fine. Shell velocity is okay, it's not the greatest. 900 meters per second is on the lower end of the spectrum, so not great, but gold shell is faster with more pen. Yeah, this gold shell will bite through most of the higher tier vehicles. The downside to this is usually the DPM of tier 8s are 2,800, 3,000, so you are more of a heavy tank DPM, so play towards the armor, don't play towards tank destroying, I guess. But yeah, how good is the armor on the Quasimodo? Health wise, 100 less health than the Polish tank destroyer and 200 less health than the average heavy tank at tier 8. But how good is the armor? Oh, patent-esque of a chassis. It's egg shape, so about the same, 200mm-ish, but lower plate is stronger than the upper plate, surprisingly. Ooh, lower plate is thicker, so effectively it's stronger on the lower plate than on the upper plate. Let's see at a distance. I mean, if you're hauled down, then obviously negating the sloping, but alright. Yeah, lower plate is stronger, surprisingly. The turret is strong. It's rounded, 165. It says 305 for the turret front. Where, the mantlet? Yeah, the mantlet is thick. Ooh. There is a shot trapping potential beneath the mantlet, but I don't know how viable that is. I doubt it. I really doubt. It's 85 beneath the gun mantlet, so you might able to shot trap right here, but that's a very small sliver. And if the gun's aiming at you, then you're not getting this area. Not really. Not bad. The armor seems actually decent. Side of the cheeks on the hunchback, still 240. Still relatively decent. Has a 50mm gun access port or mantlet roof. 88 for the gun access port. Not bad. 38 for the back end of the shell ejection part of the roof of the turret. I mean, unless you're really tall over the hunchback and jam a shot into the back of the turret, maybe into the cupola as well, but if you're hauled down, then you can actually hide the cupola. Yeah, that's a very small sliver on the back of the hunchback. It's also 7 degrees of gun depression, so armor seems actually not half bad, right? More consistent than the XM57F, but side armor 63. It is slightly sloped downwards, like with the patent, so shoot too low into the tracks, you'll get auto bounce. 88, that's rounded on the hull sides. Might throw a few shots. The vent ports are not actual armor. Yeah, the vent ports are not space armor, are not actual armor, but unlike with the SU-122V that we saw, with that sloping of the angle, you can actually use the vent port as additional space armor on the sides. But armor doesn't seem that bad. 25 for the engine deck in the back end, so kind of crap. Well, then again, don't expose to artillery shells, but yeah, armor seems not bad. Surprisingly not bad. If the upper plate is like 230 or 240, then this vehicle might be very good, but lower plate is stronger than the upper plate, surprisingly, and the cupola is not that big, so not half bad. Good. It's also more mobile, more engine power than your well, it has more power than the E3, not as much as the E4. Top speed is better than the Doom Turtle and the such, but It's a big caliber gun at tier 8. This will see tier 6. So this might be a sleeper hit amongst the holiday ops and other stuff. Camo is also not half bad. And view range is alright. Might be a sleeper hit with this vehicle, I feel. It's just surprisingly how thick the turret is. It's all about angling of the armor. So might be a sleeper hit. But DZT-159. It could be a heavy. Elongated Type 59-esque of a chassis. It has rocket boosters. Boosts not as long, but boosts more frequently than the heavy tanks. So 7 charges, but only 5 seconds per charge compared to, what's it, like 5 charges of 10 seconds? So just a small boost whenever you need it. It's a 122, but packs a punch for most of the medium tanks at the same tier. Should be 440 alpha, right? Going off of memory. Yeah, 440 alpha. DPM is not great. It's a premium though. Crew of 4. All the Chinese medium tanks have about the same crews, so that's nice. Rocket booster engine. Alright. But DPM is not great. Accuracy aim time is also not great. Gun depression is alright. Also there's a cupola, but let's see. Dispersion also not great. Oh, why is it always like 0.2528 for this vehicle bunch? For this batch of vehicles. Oh, it's about the same ballpark as with the 590. Now granted, it has better penetration than the 590, so doesn't feel as bad, but DPM must also kind of suck, so at least has better turret traverse dispersion. The same hull moving dispersion. I'm not having a fun time with the 590, so I'm just going off of that as a basis, but this vehicle feels kind of compared to the WZ-120. Not as much DPM, dramatically crappier dispersion while moving the hull and traversing, worse accuracy, worse aim time, better pen by 11mm, but yeah, sacrificing about freaking 600 or 550-ish DPM. Not a good trade-off. Same goes with the horsepower per ton ratio and the top speed, but then again, you have the rocket boosters, so okay. But still, come on. Shell velocity is quicker though, that's nice. And 7 degrees of gun depression compared to 3 degrees on the WZ-120, but so with rocket boosters, it's about 42 kilometers per hour top speed, or 42 horsepower per ton ratio with 68 kilometers per hour top speed. That is very quick, but only for 5 seconds. You cannot traverse that quickly, and cannot go backwards. But yeah, terrain resistance is also not as good as the WZ-120. So, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. DPM feels suck. Give it like 2,200 DPM, right? Not sub 2,000. Ugh. 1,600 health, also kind of flaky with the HP, but turret front, it's about 300mm effective. Now, granted, that's thick, but it's flat, so gold shell from a large caliber tank destroyer gun will go through, unfortunately, but you'll still have to switch to gold. It'll be effective against lower caliber, like tier 7s or tier 8s, spamming gold shell, but cupola is still weak spot on top. It is not as in the front as with the WZ-120, so theoretically you can hide it a little bit better when you're gun depressed. Same goes with the loader cupola as well. So upper plate about 200mm, 190, so effectively about the same as the Type 59. Lower plate is the same, so depending on the angle, might be slightly better than the upper plate. But there is a weird turret support V-shape on the hull sides. It's 120 too. There are a few trollish areas with the side scraping on this vehicle. You see that? Wait, this is a better angle. That's a V-shape turret support. at 120. So theoretically, this will bounce. You could throw a few shots if you're side scraping, but armor is still medium tank. It's not the craziest, right? Not really. You have the rocket boosters, but yeah, more frequent, not as long of a boost. Horsepower per turn ratio also doesn't feel that great. It's a pocket heavy tank. It's really a pocket heavy. I mean, it's a premium, man. Mostly all premium tanks are not that good. Mostly, so I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. Camo, meh, it's okay. View range, okay. Not the greatest, not the worst. I don't know. Feels kind of bad when you compare it to the WZ-120. But then again, I played the WZ-120 for a long time. I got used to the 3 degrees gun depression for a long time. It sucks, but I got used to it. So yeah, the mobility on this vehicle is only good when turbocharging or turboing or rocket boosting, but otherwise it feels kind of like a heavy tank. And DPM just suck straight off the bat. Oh god. Alright, finally moving on to the final vehicle, the 𝗛77, a more mobile, athletic version of the 𝗛75, but it's a nice looking vehicle too. Cupola is pretty big. It's a pizza shaped, large ass cupola on top, but vehicle also seems kind of wide too, but then again, it's still hefty at 60-ish tons. So it could be like a 𝗛75 TS at tier 9 for that matter, but it's a bigger gun than the 105 on the 𝗛75 TS. It's a 128. Yeah, 128. Big caliber gun. Premium tank, makes the bonds as well, but DPM is okay. It's not the greatest for tier 9, but it's about the same with the 𝗛75. Crew of 5, fits all the new anime crew for Erica, so big plus. But firepower wise, 460 alpha compared to 530 on the 𝗛75. DPM is actually about the same, but accuracy, aim time also about the same, I feel. Gun depression 8 degrees, not bad. Penetration is slightly lower than the 𝗛75, if I remember correctly, but 𝗛75. Yeah, 530, better DPM. Same accuracy, longer aim time, never mind. But better dispersion while moving, especially for the turret traverse. That's good. Better shell velocity, that's good. Why does it have less module damage, even though the caliber is the same? Interesting. Alright. Carries a little bit more shells, and the shells are a little bit cheaper because of the alpha damage, as expected, but yeah, DPM is better. Top speed is the same. Better horsepower per turn ratio by 50% almost, which is nice. So effective traverse is not as good because of terrain resistance. That's fine. But top speed is better. That's nice. 8 degrees gun depression, 15 elevation. Turret traverse is dramatically faster, which is nice. Not as much health, and doesn't weigh as much. But better camo, not as much view range. Interesting trade-offs, right? Interesting trade-offs. But how good is the armor when you have that mobility? So, does the armor suffer? Well, turret front 290. It is flat, but about 320 millimeters effective. So gold shell from large caliber tank destroyer guns will go through. Similarly with the DZT-159. The rangefinders are somewhat of a weak spot. Only 60 millimeter. So similar to the TS-54, but also with the 𝗛75 TS. That thing has a 𝗛𝗶𝗱𝗱𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 turret. Does it count? But cupola is 200 millimeter. There is a sloping in front. That might throw the shot. Yeah, there is a sloping right in front. Like how we mentioned in the What the F video. But that is hilarious. So you have to shoot right on top of the cupola or slightly to the sides. The gun depression space is also 60mm. So this will help out with the auto bouncing on top of the gun when your gun depressed, but that's not a weak spot. Interesting. Upper plate about 240, 250-ish. Bow machine gun is not a weak spot. That's nice. So they didn't even model it. Did they even model it? They didn't even model this thing. It's purely straight armor. Bow machine gun doesn't even count. It's just straight. Okay, that's fine. It's a buff for this vehicle, but I thought this was going to be a weak spot. It's not. It's the same armor, uniform, on the upper plate. Okay, lower plate, 200mm, but armor I feel is not bad, right? You get a bigger pizza shape cupola, but you have more mobility. 40mm for the hull roof. You could theoretically jam a shell into this wide body of a hull and overmatch with a large caliber gun, but if you play this vehicle from mid-range, more like a medium tank, then that seems pretty good. No, man, come on, don't do this to me. Oh man, that's space armor. It's not counted as space armor. That is, it's even more so than the side skirts on, or the mud flaps on the E75 or Tiger Mouse, right? That's actual space armor. Oh man, what the? That's not counted as space armor. That's only tracks. 80 at the hull sides. Disappointed! Again, what the? No, there's no space armor at the hull sides. That is bullcrap. That sucks. That sucks. I'm disappointed. Why do you read? That's even more so. That's like the E100-esque of a side skirt, right? That's very much like an E100 side skirt. But no, they did not model it. Sons of bitches. I want side armor. I want side skirts on the side armor. That sucks. Also, what's interesting is the hull is a slope downwards shape for all the German heavy tanks. So you see this line? That's a slope downwards shape. So even if you're hull down and gun depressed, right? If you're cresting over a ridge, if they have the chance, they can actually shoot at this area and penetrate. So it's like shooting underneath the vehicle, but it's shooting right here will penetrate. There's a shot trap underneath the turret. That's also kind of dodgy as well. But yeah, if they miss this area right here, they can shoot through the tracks and still hit this area and penetrate. So don't crest too hard. Don't expose your hull armor too much. Otherwise, they'll jam a shot right there. Small detail about these vehicles, but goddamn, I'm still pissed off on the side armor. Why do you remove it? It's side skirts. It's the same Tiger Mouse treatment. Now just without side skirts anyways. Alright, fine. So, mobility we covered already, but yeah, it's faster, dramatically faster than the E75 to rev. Even though top speed is the same. Better hull traverse. And turret traverse. So, wait. Did I say better turret traverse or hull traverse? Actually, better turret traverse, not as good hull traverse. Surprisingly, not as good hull traverse, but faster to rev. A lot faster to rev. Hull armor is not as effective as an E75. So it's not like auto bounce. It's only 240, 250 or so. So it's more in line of an E50 playstyle, right? We should compare it to an E50, just to be sure. Medium tank, E50. Not as much DPM, but accuracy, aim time also not as much. You have a bigger gun, but E50 has 150 on the hull front. That's interesting. Has less armor on the hull front than the E50. Really? I have to compare this with the E50. Oh, yeah, these two plays the same, but surprisingly, the medium tank has better hull armor. What? Is it better hull armor? It's about the same hull armor. So sloping is not as good on the E50, but effective armor is about the same. Alright, granted. It has better turret front than the E50. Okay, that's fine. It's a lot better turret front. But yeah, I'm just pissed off on the side skirts again. Oh, there you go, folks. 30 minutes taking a look at hidden vehicles, but it's all high tier. No Stroessler V4. So we'll likely see the Stroessler along with possibly the FCM2C as this year's anniversary and New Year's gift. So where the hell is the Stroessler? We just took a look. Yeah, we'll see the Stroessler V4. We'll see the FCM2C or Char 2C from January. Yeah, this vehicle is likely going to be our anniversary / New Year's gift, one of which, along with the Stroessler. But maybe they'll do another tier 9 vehicle that's super crap and give it out to the public for holiday ops. I hopefully don't want that because people are using the patent tank for rigging because you have a high tier vehicle, easier to rig with a standard account. But yeah, we're missing the 𝗲𝗲𝗱𝗱𝗲𝗀𝗃, the Toro, and the Comrades, as well as the bunch of Czech autocannons for now. So we'll have to wait. But next patch is going to be pretty big, likely August. So we'll see the Battle Pass stuff for the final season of this year. There are no 3D styles that are new for this patch. So next patch will be big. 1.26 will be big. We'll see all the candidates. I am guessing all the Battle Pass and other stuff will be tied to the Waffentrager event. We have the Waffentrager during September of each year. And with that, we should get a themed Battle Pass along with the Waffentrager event. So those are all tied, I guess. I don't know. But as always, thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Out of this bunch of new vehicles, I think the best vehicle might be the XM57 and then the E77. These two are debatable, but this might be the worst out of this bunch. Debatable, but yeah, I wanted to love the E77. They did not give me the side skirts. Disappointed. But I'll see you guys next time. Peace.